Just recently, a councilman in Delaware County, which is just miles outside of Indianapolis, had announced that not only he's coming out as trans, but also as a native Indian. Wow. Just wow.
A councilman is coming out as transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash, many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution. In a statement Webb gave to ITMate, he says, quote, "It is unfortunate that I cannot simply be given the same space and respect to explore my identity that so many of those targeting me demand for themselves. It's possible I may change my mind down the road. The process of identity exploration is complex, and oftentimes at the end of our personal journey, we end right back where we started." Webb goes on to tell ITMate this is just his true, authentic self.
Now, one would think that the extreme thing here is that not only is Mr. Webb, and by the way, he still, will go by his he/him pronouns, so I should not be offending anyone by referring to him as such. But like I said, the extreme idiocy of this whole situation isn't that this man now sees himself as a woman, or even the fact that he now identifies as a person of color, which in this case is a native Indian. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh, but just look at this guy. He doesn't even resemble a bit of a native Indian. But anyway, the silliness is that a lot of people are rejecting this man. I mean, if a man claims that he identifies as a woman, is now therefore trans. So who are you to deny this native Indian woman's outlook of herself? Are you transphobe? Apparently one must be to deny this woman her right to identify the gender and race their body has been misaligned with. Isn't that correct? Isn't that what people, say to people like me and others who don't subscribe to this delusion and instead see it for what it really is, a disorder that needs psychological attention? I see that the shoe isn't fitting too well on the other foot. Now is it?
The person Ryan Webb announced publicly on social media that he now identifies as a lesbian woman of color. If he were serious, I'd sing his praises. But instead, I know better.
In none of my jobs in the last 21 years, and that is many, many jobs, would I have been permitted to mock and disrespect my customers.
And if that were true, we would all be proud of you, and no one would be denying your right to do such things and to identify by your heritage. But your open mockery of these communities is insane.
In order to demand for the resignation of Ryan Webb. The posts Mr. Webb made on April 12th were offensive on many levels.
After hearing these complaints, Ryan Webb responded.
I'm being dead serious. You don't get to question me. You do not get to require proof from me. You were part of the movement to help establish these rules and set the bar.
Touche, councilman. Touche.
The outrage by these advocates, clearly demonstrates more of a hypocrisy than mockery. Now, do I believe that Ryan Webb actually sees himself as trans and also as a native Indian? No, I don't. Now, I never heard this guy prior to the story, but based on the fact that he's keeping his biologically aligned pronoun and that he hasn't even made a effort to even look like a native Indian woman, tells me that this guy is faking the whole transition thing. But who am I to make that claim? As like I said, I've been told by numerous internet trolls after I made my Dylan Mulvaney video where I called him out as an opportunist that's just monetizing off the whole transition lifestyle. I was told on numerous occasions that it's not up to me to determine how he identifies, as if I don't know someone's heart or their mindset, and that, I should be more open and understanding to someone's gender identity crisis. Otherwise, I'm just a bigot. Okay, cool. If that's the case, then these same people need to apply the same love and sympathy for Mr. Webb here, unless they really are hypocrites. Because if you want people to take you seriously on your stance about how you identify, then you need to set up some type of strict parameters to what you accept or who you accept as transgender. If it's an easy entrance into the lifestyle just based off how you feel, then you can't deny Ryan Webb, and I'm sure others that will follow behind him. You just can't. And I really think that this will become a trend. I really do think that, where you may have to get down to this particular level. down to this lower level to win this culture war. Pretend you're something you're not in order to get somewhere you got to go. The whole adage, you got to be crazy to fight crazy.
Step is full-scale psychological warfare, right? You got to act like you got this tick, right? Like the army did this experiment on you, right? That just went terribly wrong. You're like, back up. Mind your business, that's all. Mind your business.
Okay. Back up! Mind your business, that's all. Just mind your business.
Now, look, I'm in no way advocating violence or calling people with gender dysphoria crazy. What I'm saying is that it's a disorder that needs to be treated. And at the same time, if people that are part of the LGBTQ community and there are many advocates that support transgenderism, if they truly believe this, they really need to put some parameters on what must be established or demonstrated for a person to identify as trans. Otherwise, it's not people like, Ryan Webb that's making a mockery of transitioning. It's these liberals and advocates who are making a mockery by not calling out people like I said, Dylan Mulvaney or Grant Sykes and others. Because these guys are just capitalizing off the lifestyle, as they and most young men transitioning just see this as a trend for likes and attention that they could monetize off. Now that's a true mockery. And advocates who are calling out Mr. Webb, but not the guys that are capitalizing because it doesn't fit the narrative, to call those guys out, those people are the true hypocrites. So Mr. Webb or Mrs. Webb, you, my friend, have laid out a great blueprint of combat in this culture war. I look forward to seeing how this all comes about, as currently they're trying to have him removed from his seat as a councilman, which I believe if that happens, a whole nother can of worms is going to open up. He probably could file this discrimination lawsuit under the 14th Amendment Equal Opportunity Clause. That's discrimination. So just look at that. I guess, trans people do have rights. So talk to me, people. What do you think here? Is Mr. Webb making a mockery? And if so, are these people some of the biggest hypocrites we've ever seen? Let me know down below in the comments, because people are always calling me transphobe. I want to know, are these people also transphobes?